Yeah, this is an open challenge to any full preterist out there that wants to debate, moderated debate, on the judgment, on the eschatological judgment. Um, Don Preston and I signed an agreement. We went back and forth for a couple weeks, tweaking this and that time frame. He wanted to use a New King James Version of the Bible. I ended up ordering a 16 font one, a big one, so for the debate. I have 21 Bibles, 18 versions. So I have 3 or 4 New King James, but I wanted a big one for the debate. He signed his name for the debate, ordered the New King James, which I didn't need. He pulls out of the debate, done. He says, because, well, Joel fell off the wagon. Well, after studying for a few months heavily, I had a beer. But in reality, we went back and forth, and I saved every exchange we had for a couple months, and I put it in a document on a blog, and you can read it. Number one, Don will not debate me because he does not understand the doctrine of justification. I understand the doctrine of justification extremely well because I had to, coming out of Adventism. I had to. That was one of my first things. You get Sabbath, investigative judgment, 1844, soul sleep, Ellen White. But justification for me, boom. I wanted to know what the gospel really was. And so I've been at that off and on for 13 years. And so Don knows I know this doctrine very, very well, exegetically with the text, all the interpretations from all the different views, whether it be Wesleyan, Arminian, whether it be Reformed, whether it be Lutheran, which is my view, the Lutheran view on justification, whether it be the Roman Catholic view. I know these views very well. The New Perspective on Paul, I know that view extremely well. Their exegesis. So that's number one. Number two, the implication argument. He agrees with N.T. Wright on Romans 8:33 and 34. He says specifically, in our written exchange, I agree. It's a future tense judgment brought into the here and now. A future judgment, Romans 8:33 and 34. And he said Mounts is right as well when it comes to Romans chapter 3. It's in the act of justification, when God justifies a sinner, he's bringing the verdict of the last judgment, the future last judgment, future tense, future indicative, into the person's life, into the here and now, and they are declared not guilty. They are declared righteous because of the passive and active obedience of Christ is imputed, credited to their account. They're looked upon as completely righteous because of the merits of Christ are theirs. In Romans chapter 3, Romans chapter 8, it's very, very clear. In the Greek text, Don agreed, but he said, I disagree with the timing. But in the Greek text, N.T. Wright on Romans 8, in his massive commentary, Romans 8, a bunch of commentaries on Romans. Here's two of them. N.T. Wright, massive one is in there, and this is Mounts on Romans 3. I made the point with Mounts that it's a future judgment brought into the here and now. If the judgment's in the past, if it's an 80, 70, if it was yesterday, if it was a minute ago, then we have no justification today because we are putting words in the mouth of Paul. Because for Paul, it's a future judgment that's brought into the here and now. If there's no verdict, there's no justification. Justification, dikaio, means to declare righteous, to acquit. It's a verdict. It's a legal verdict of the last judgment, standing before the throne. That's what it is. If it's in the past, there can be no justification life for sinners today. That is my implication argument that I came up with when I was supposed to debate Michael Miano. I went on his podcast, and I'll put the link in for that, along with the exchange with Don Preston, 35 pages of fun stuff. And you could see, and I posted it recently in some groups, and one fella, I don't know who his name, he said Miano brought nothing to that exchange, and I responded to him. That's why 5 minutes after the podcast with Michael Miano, I said, I will not debate Michael Miano because he's an unworthy opponent. He even a year later, it came to me, he said, Joel, I admit I did not really understand the doctrine of justification. He said that openly in a group. And so if he doesn't understand it, and he wants to debate my implication argument. But I'm not saying, let's debate my implication argument, let's debate the judgment as a whole. The last judgment, the eschatological judgment. That's the debate. Open challenge. Don Preston wouldn't debate me. Michael Miano wouldn't have a chance if you listen to the podcast. And we were both unprepared. It was just the next day. Let's do it tomorrow. Okay. So that's the challenge for any full preterist out there, to debate me on the judgment. And I haven't been studying, and this is the first time in a long time, I haven't been studying since before December. Anything. I'm starting to look into reading the Lutheran dogmatics, systematics, some stuff on anatomy, muscular anatomy, physiology, things like that. I'm kind of branching out in other areas besides theology and biblical studies. But if someone wants to debate it, we'll get into the judgment, a moderated debate. Let's see it happen. Let's see people push for this. Push for the debate. Push for a debate. Let's have a debate on the judgment. We see full preterists. I have a lot of Don's major works. His big books, 300 plus pages, right? His big books. I read tons of Don's books. Even an ex-friend of mine, because we split over the gospel. He believed differently in the gospel, and 13 years of friendship is gone. But I would even borrow books from him on Don. Read everything I could. He gets into the timing of the judgment, but not the nature. This is what full preterists do. The timing, but they do not deal with the nature of the judgment. They do not deal with that. Oh, it's 80-70. Time text. They don't deal with Romans 1:18 through 3:18. Romans 5:9. Romans 5:1 through 11. The whole thing. They don't deal with these passages. 1 Thessalonians 1:10, 5-9. Ephesians 2:3. Ephesians 4:5 and 6. They don't deal with these texts that speak of wrath coming upon all mankind. Those that are unjustified are going to receive wrath. All over the Roman Empire. Since creation, Romans chapter 1. Since creation and since the antediluvians and the flood until Paul's day, all of mankind would be judged at the last day, at the judgment, at the parousia. Did it happen in 80-70? Well, that's why Don has to come up with, there's a representative judgment. And some steal his argument and say, it's a covenantal judgment. Palestine being judged, being razed, besieged and destroyed 3.5 years later. That's the judgment on mankind. That represents the judgment on mankind. Yeah? Really? I don't think so. So there's the open challenge. And I would ask people to push for this debate to actually happen, because this is a rare topic, one that doesn't really come up a lot. Resurrection's brought up a lot. The judgment is not, and I think it needs to be fleshed out. Okay, take care, guys, with the virus, and hopefully we can get something going.